is such an interesting topic right now. You know, with it becoming so ridiculously expensive and fewer people being able to find jobs with degrees and just the general idea of whether college is worth it or not and whether or not you should go. So I really wanted to do this subject some justice when I talked about it, so I took a few weeks off. I gave some more thought to it, took some more notes that I have on my computer right here, so if you see me looking down, I'm referencing those. And now I'm ready to hopefully bring up some good points and some thought-provoking stuff. So, with all that being said, I just want to get straight into it. So, here we go. College is a dream that I think so many of us have growing up, but it is a dream that so few of us came up with on our own, if that makes sense. You know, whether it was your parents, or your friends, or your teachers, or your coaches, or relatives, or just society in general. If you're like me, from the time that you were like 5 years old, starting kindergarten or preschool or whatever you call it, wherever you are, college was just this overarching thing that was placed into our lives. I don't know if you remember this, but this was my experience. Walking around school, you would see signs like class of, and then the year. So like class of 2018, or class of 2024, or class of 2040. Just these little reminders that one day you were going to graduate high school, and that you were going to go to college. And I feel like it was really just implied that that was the goal of our lives, was to try as hard as we could in school and to get into a good university, to study something we liked, and to go get a degree. And that if you were able to do that, that was the mark of a successful young person, a successful young adult. And I feel like it was also implied that that was how you but that was how you set up the rest of your life for success. It was how you made good friends, or got a good job, or maybe met the person you were going to fall in love with. You know, those classic movies of kids going off to college and having all these liberating experiences and meeting people and finding themselves and just having the greatest fucking time of their lives. I just think that growing up, we were all sold such a dream about what college was supposed to be like, and what it meant for your life, and what your life, conversely, would not be like if you didn't go to college. I hate to say this, but I have distinct memories of my senior year of high school when we all had just found out which schools we were going to. And there were like rumors about kids who were going to go to a trade school, or were going to take a gap year, or who were going to just go to work or do something that was not college. And because I was so convinced that going to college was what you had to do to have a good life, and that that was the pinnacle of the youth experience, I genuinely remember not only thinking to myself, but also talking with my friends and saying, oh, that guy is fucked, that girl is just gonna be a loser because they're not going to school. What the fuck are they gonna do with their lives? They're not gonna be able to get a job in a few years. They're not gonna ever be able to become wealthy. They're not gonna be successful. They're not gonna find the person they're supposed to marry. They're destined to be failures because they're not going to college. Regrettably, that is legitimately what I thought. And of course, now that I have had a couple years out of college, because I did go and I did graduate, I have such a vastly different perspective on the college experience. And what I think is important has nothing to do with where I'm at right now. So, for those reasons, I wanted to make this video, and I created a short list of some quotes or statements or things I've heard people say, whether I was a kid or in college or even after college, that I think are common misconceptions about going to school and getting a degree. And I wanted to address them and basically just kind of reframe them or offer alternative ways to look at going to school and college that maybe will help you if you are thinking about going yourself, or if you're in college right now, or if you're a couple years out of college and are wondering if it was worth it or not. So, I'm just gonna go straight to the first one. Honestly, I have like 10 pages of notes because when I started posting consistently again, I wanted to like really make good content and have good points and just things to bring up. But what I've realized as I've made a few of these past videos is that trying to plan out everything you want to say is a recipe for disaster and for getting ridiculously fucking mad at yourself when you say something that wasn't on the sheet or when you forget to say something that was on the sheet. So, I'm trying to do this today all in one take. So if I fuck up, please forgive me. But anyways, the first, and probably one of the most popular things that I heard growing up, but especially while I was in college, is that college is supposed to be the best 4 years of your life. Let me repeat that one more time. College is supposed to be the best 4 years of your life. And I heard this in different forms and variations throughout the years. Sometimes people would say, bruh, these are supposed to be the best years of our lives, come on. Or, dude, life doesn't get any better than this, just come out with us or do X, Y, and Z. But it's just this idea that college is the peak of your existence as a human on this planet, and that there is no better time to be alive than the 4 years you get at a university. And I have such a distinct memory of the time I heard this that really made me ask myself, why the fuck do so many people say this? This is bullshit. I was at a friend's house, and it was kind of like a small house party. And this friend lives down the street from like the most popular bar on campus at the school that I went to. And I wasn't really drinking. I just wasn't feeling it that night. I think I might have had like a shot or two, but I just wasn't feeling it. So everybody was playing a drinking game. I think it might have been King's Cup or something like that. And this girl was trying to get me to play, and I just kind of wanted to watch and just hang out and talk to somebody else who wasn't playing. And I remember her friends came over to get her because the game was starting, and she said something to me that was basically this, which was that like, oh my god, just play, like have fun, like we're in college, we're not going to be here forever, these are the best 4 years of our life, don't waste them standing over there being lame. And so yeah, it was just like this typical like peer pressure college moment, but I don't know what it was about that night or the way she said it or just the environment I was in, but I remember her saying that, and I remember just looking at everybody just blacked out, fucked up beyond belief at the table, having fun. And of course they're having fun, it's whatever, I'm not judging them. But I just remember thinking to myself, are you serious? Like these are supposed to be the best 4 years of my life? You are telling me that my life right now cannot and will not get any better than this. It won't get any better than a Friday night house party at my friend's playing King's Cup, drinking the shittiest myself. That's it. That's as good as it gets. There's no way, no fucking way. Sorry, I'm kind of cussing up a storm right now, but I just had that moment where I was like, this can't be it. And truthfully, I didn't love college even up to that point, and I'm sure I'll get more into that, but to give a little bit of context, I went to school in the same city that I was born and raised in, and because of that, I wasn't really excited about going to college because it just felt like a bigger high school to me, and I knew so many of the kids that were going there because I had either gone to high school with them, gone to middle school with them, gone to elementary school with them, or played sports with them. So I felt like I just knew everybody. And a lot of my friends went off to different places for college. And so, truthfully, I was just envious of them, and so I didn't really look forward to what I was going to experience in college, and I didn't try as hard to extend myself as I maybe should have, but that's neither, well, that is kind of here and there, but it's kind of irrelevant to what I'm saying, because really what I'm trying to bring up is just the idea that people think that college is supposed to represent the best time of your life. And the problem I had with that is that what does that say about the next 50, 60 years of your life? If your life is never ever going to be as good as it is when you're 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, what the hell are you supposed to do from 22 to 72? Are you just supposed to spend the next 50 years of your life looking back on the good old days and taking biannual trips with your college friends and your sorority friends and your frat brothers and just reminiscing on the good times and getting drunk and trying to relive those memories? Like, what the fuck are you supposed to do if life doesn't get any better than that? I gotta reference my notes for a second because I do kind of want to stay on track. Okay, so the reason why I think a lot of people say that college is supposed to be the best 4 years of your life or however long you go is because college is a time for a lot of firsts. It might be your first time living away from your parents, your first time living in a different city, your first time having to make new friends, your first time doing long distance in a relationship, your first time ending a relationship because you're moving somewhere, your first time getting into a relationship, your first time having sex, your first time getting blacked out, your first time getting arrested, your first time using a fake ID and going to a bar, your first time getting into a fight, your first time changing majors, your first time paying your own rent or getting a job. There are so many different things you experience in the years that you spend at college, and that is a beautiful, wonderful thing, and that is actually one of the best things about college. And despite the fact that I did go to college in the same place that I lived, I still experienced a lot of new things and people, and that is the part of college that I am the most grateful for. But I think we just have this idea that if we're in a situation where we experience a lot of different emotions or situations, that somehow they mean more than other situations or scenarios where we might not be exposed to as many different things, if that makes sense. It's just a lot of chaos and confusion and uncertainty and hope and optimism and love and drugs and just general entropy happening in a short span of time. And I think we look at that and we say, oh my god, there's so much happening in such a little period of time. This must be better than everything else because so much is going on. How could it not be? Life is so boring after you graduate. You don't get to go to dayers or go out to the bars with your friends at night or skip class in the morning because you're hungover. Or, I don't know, go on weekend trips with your college friends or go visit friends at different campuses that you went to high school less meaning. When truthfully, I think it is so far from that. That's the point I was trying to make. It just took me a couple minutes to get there. Sorry, I had to take a couple quick breaths. I think to kind of make an amendment to what people say when they say college is supposed to be the best time of your life, it would probably be something like this. It would be that going away to university is an incredible and unique opportunity in your life to experience plenty of new opportunities and people and situations and emotions. But truthfully, it is just at the very, very beginning of a very, very long journey to figure out who you are and what you want from life and how to be a happy and growing person in the world. It's not the end, it's just the beginning. It's not the peak. It might have some high moments, but it's also bound to have plenty of low moments as well. And that is indicative of how the rest of your life is probably going to go. So don't place too much weight on what you are going to experience. Enjoy it and make the most of it, but just know that things are only getting started for you. I would also say that college is a great place to experiment and try different things, whether that's academically, socially, emotionally, physically. Try new hobbies, try to make new friends, maybe leave old friends. Try going out, try staying in. Just do different things while you're in a low-risk environment where you have the opportunity to make mistakes and do things without a lot of obligation tied to yourself in your life. The last thing I would say is that yes, college is going to be an extremely memorable time of your life because it is such a unique and once-in-a-lifetime experience. But you're gonna have so many more once-in-a-lifetime experiences after college. And some of your favorite memories might come from that time period, but your best days are truthfully still yet to come. I just think that if you approach college thinking that life is not going to get any better than the 4 years you have in front of you, that you are setting yourself up for such a shitty go of it when you graduate. Actually, the last thing I would say is that you should also try to take some time during college to work on things that you could see yourself doing after you graduate. I think it's easy to become a prisoner of the moment in college and kind of just soak in the experience and, make it your whole life or your whole personality. I had moments where I did that, but try and think about things you'd be interested in pursuing once you're done and devote a little bit of time to that because it will make that transition out of school a little bit easier. I, for example, really loved making videos, and so I made an effort to keep making projects and videos and trying to be creative even while I was busy with schoolwork and whatnot. And it's been something that I've done since I graduated, and I've been able to make money doing it, but it's also just given me something to do. Because when you're so busy for 4 years, and all of a sudden you graduate and you get a job that of course takes up a substantial amount of time, you still want to fill those gaps in your schedule that you once had class in, or studied for exams in, or went out in, or hung out with friends in, or went on trips with your college friends in. You want to fill those in with other things. Okay, so that brings me to my second point, which I will be saying after I take a quick sip of water because my throat is dry as all hell. The second thing that I heard a lot of people say growing up, and that I heard a lot of people say when I had friends who were thinking about dropping out, which is that it's way harder to be successful this has to be the one. I honestly, I think I just said this for the first one, which is this might be the one that I disagree with the most, but this might be the one that I disagree with the most. Because I've had a couple years to experience life and do things and see the people around me do things since I've graduated. And I don't think your ability to be successful or happy or have a meaningful life or have a chance at any of those things is at all impacted by your decision to go to college or not. And I actually wrote down 3 people I know who I think perfectly sum this scenario and this idea up. So the first one is one of my closest childhood friends who I went to elementary and middle and high school with, but he went to a different college than me. He went to one of the best colleges in the country. I'll just say that. And it's a private school. Ridiculously smart. He is one of the smartest people I've ever met by a mile. I think he got like a 35 on his ACT. He's a genius. But he went to this school. He got his bachelor's degree in computer science and stayed an extra year and did an accelerated MBA program. So now he is a graduate. How do you say that? He has a graduate degree, an undergraduate degree, an MBA at one of the best schools in the country. I'm talking like top 10. And I just talked to him a few weeks ago. And in these past couple of months, he's had to move home and move back in with his parents while he looks for a job because he can't find a job that's working for him. And if somebody had told me that that would be the scenario that he would end up in 6 years ago, right before we started college, I would have said there's no fucking chance. By the time this guy graduates from college and gets whatever degree he wants, he's going to be making 6 figures easily. He's going to be the happiest guy on the face of the planet. He's going to live wherever he wants to. He's going to do whatever he wants to. And I just know he's going to be successful by 24. Guaranteed. But he's not. And there's nothing wrong with that. But I think, let me just get to the second person. The second person is my best friend, who I've gone to the same school with for our entire lives. I've literally known him since I was born. But he went to the same college as me. He studied something with computers as well. He fucking hated college. He even thought about dropping out at one point. But he forced himself to stay. And he got his degree, just like me. And he got a full-time job working at this company that I can't name. I'm trying to find the balance of like giving enough details but not just giving away my entire life and my friends' entire lives. So he got a full-time job. So on paper he did everything right. Went to college, got his degree, got a good paying full-time job. What he didn't do right is the happy part, because he fucking hated his life. He had such bad anxiety from this job that he was working at that he literally broke out in hives at his desk, at his cubicle some days, and I worked at the same place as him. So I saw mentally and psychologically what this was doing to him. And he was legitimately so fucking depressed and just unhappy with this job that he started working on a business for himself on the side and trying to get it to a point where he could quit his job. And thank God, and luckily he was able to. And now he runs his own business and works from home. And he is happier than ever. That change of situation completely changed his mental health and his outlook on life. And he seems more content and focused and motivated and ambitious than ever before. And the third and final example that I feel like relates to this idea of not being able to be successful or happy if you don't go to college is this kid that I grew up with that when I still had Instagram, I would see post family's ranch, and he ended up meeting and marrying this girl when he was like 20 or 21, and I think sometime in the last year they had a baby. And I saw him, I would see him post on Instagram. Sometimes my mom talks about him because we're family friends. But from what I've seen and what I've heard, he is as happy as could be. He has a newborn son, he has a wife, he has land out in the country, and he takes care of it with his family, and he works on the ranch, and he has livestock. And he is completely content, and he did not go to college for a single day of his life. So let me bring this all back in. We have someone who absolutely murdered it in the academic world, went to a ridiculous university, got a ridiculous degree, got an MBA degree, and cannot find a job. We have someone who went to college, did what he had to do, got his undergrad, his bachelor's degree, got a full-time job that was well-paying and had opportunities for advancement, fucking hated his life, and had to start his own business to try and escape the trenches, as he would call them. And we have someone who didn't even think about attending university, and got a job right out of high school, and built a family and a life for himself, and is the same age as me, and is as happy as could be. Those are three, I would say, substantially different routes from people who had to make the decision whether or not to go to college, and for how long to go to college, and what to do after college. And they ended up in three completely different places. And I just bring that up to say, college is no guarantee of success or happiness, or job even, anymore. And so I feel like the idea that you have to go to make something of your life, truthfully, it's so stupid. I just couldn't disagree with it anymore. To give a little more context for myself, I worked at the same place as my best friend, and the job was kind of related to the degree I had, but I never fucking used it. I never relied on anything I learned in school to do it. Oppositely, I have a friend who is going to law school right now, and she, for a fact, is going to have to rely on her undergrad and graduate education every day of her life for as long as she is a lawyer to be able to do a good job, because her life is going to require a good education, and there's nothing wrong with that either. I gotta restart my camera real quick. Okay. Really what I'm trying to say here is that everybody's paths in life are so vastly different. You can't look at somebody and say, I gotta go down the same path as them, because if I do, I will end up in the same place as them. We are all the culmination of different experiences and different motivations and different feelings and different outlooks and attitudes and perspectives and desires for our lives. I just think we were sold this concept that having a degree would enable us to get off to a much better start to our lives than those who didn't get one. And now that I've had a couple years to reflect on that, I can honestly say that that is just not the case. A degree is not going to make or break your life. It is not going to impact your ability to see success, or to have a family, or to make something of yourself, or to do whatever it is that you want to do with your life. Of course, like I said, there is the other side to it. Some jobs require a degree, some jobs require some form of education or training. And if that's the path you choose to go down, great. That is what college is for at the end of the day, right? Getting a degree. And if you can find a way to use it to your advantage and make better opportunities for yourself, then that's fucking awesome. That's the whole point. All I'm trying to say is that if you can't, or if you don't get a degree, don't freak out. Because there are so many ways your life could go, and you have so much time to figure it out. You just gotta start trying shit. And if your version of trying shit isn't going to college, I don't think that's a big deal. I was talking to somebody who was thinking about going to college, and they brought this up, like, oh, well, if I decide not to go, does that mean it's going to be hard for me to get a job, or to make money, or be successful, or just be happy in my adult years? And of course, I'm 24, so like, what the fuck can I say? But I would say, if they asked me, a college degree can be a good way to acquire skills and knowledge that can help in a future job, but in no ways does it determine your success. For starters, how do you define success? It could be financial, it could be social, it could be emotional, it could be spiritual. Of course, most people think of it in a financial sense and they focus on the money. But I think that maybe a better way to address this would be to ask yourself what success looks like to you and devise some tentative plans or steps that you can take to try and get there. Maybe that requires a degree, maybe it doesn't. I just think increasingly that there are things out there that you can do that do not require a degree or some formal education to make something of yourself in the world. Lastly, I think that just because you don't get a good job out of college doesn't mean you're a failure. Like, the good things take time. When I graduated from college, I did freelance video creation for like 6 months, and I was a social media manager and a video editor and things like that just really had nothing to do with my degree. But I think people have this idea in their minds that you gotta get the perfect job right out of college, and that is the indication of whether or not you succeeded and were able to use your college degree to the most of its capabilities. I don't know. I hope this is interesting. I feel like I'm just saying a lot of nothing, but again, I told myself I'd do this in one take, and I gotta stick to that. So, moving on to the third thing that I've heard a lot of people say about college, which is that you should go to as good of a university as possible, no matter how much it costs, and no matter where it is. This one might be the most personal to me because, as I kind of alluded to earlier, a lot of my friends from high school went to colleges out of state, and not only were they out of state, but they were extremely well-ranking universities, like great private schools, great public schools, whatever. They were just really good colleges. And I was an absolute tryhard in high school. I took like 10 AP classes, did all the volunteer work and extracurriculars, spent weeks and weeks and weeks and months even on my college applications, did all the interviews, did everything I could to get into as good of a school as I could, because that's what I thought and that's what I was told, not by my parents. They were just happy to see me do whatever I wanted to do, but just by society or by teachers and whatnot, all those people I talked about at the beginning of the video. That's what I was made to think, was that I had to go to as good of a school as possible, no matter what, because that would dictate my ability to succeed in the future. So that's what I did. I tried my ass off. I got into a bunch of great schools, and then it just ended up working out that it was the best option for me to go to school in my home state. And it was not, on paper, as good as the other schools I got into, but it was a lot cheaper, and I got a full ride scholarship and blah blah blah. You know what I'm saying? And because of that, I thought of myself as completely and utterly inferior to my friends and people I knew that were going to really good colleges. I thought that they had just basically bought and guaranteed their success. I thought that they were all going to become entrepreneurs, CEOs, executives, doctors, lawyers, whatever the fuck they wanted to be, they were going to do it. Sometimes the job market isn't going to be good. Sometimes you're not going to like what you studied and you might want to pivot to something else. There are so many circumstances surrounding our lives and our situations that cannot and will not ever be accounted for by college. So to say that you have to go to a good school to guarantee yourself a good life is just stupid. And that you should, no matter how much it costs, no matter what it takes, go to as good of a school as you can is stupid. I say that with confidence because quite a few of my friends who went to good schools have hundreds of thousands of dollars in student debt now. I have no debt. I don't have to make a monthly payment to the government because I decided to go somewhere crazy and be as high achieving as possible as I could in college. Not only that, I had the time and the money in college to spend on things that I wanted to do, like making videos, or going on trips to see my friends who were going to college in other places, or time to just fuck around and be a teenager or 20-something trying to figure his life out. When you tell yourself that you have to stick to one path to be successful, and that there is no other world or situation where you will be successful if you are not on that path, you are setting yourself up for a life of stress and misery. Of course, that's not always true. I'm kind of being dramatic, but I experienced this issue in my own life where I think that I have to do one specific thing or activity or job to be successful, and that there's nothing else I can do and that I have to do that. But you know what the consequences of that are, is that as soon as I do something that I don't think is in line with that lifestyle or that goal I want to achieve, I freak out and I think I'm a failure and my life is falling apart and I think the world is ending. I'm getting a little off track, but I'm just trying to make the point that going to college is an achievement in and of itself. Of course, it's great if you can afford to go to a really prestigious one, or one that has a program that you want to specifically go there for. But if you are not able to do that, that does not make you a failure. That does not make you a fuck up or a loser or inadequate or inferior. And it does not mean that you will not be able to do the things you want to do in the future. And I wrote this down, and I feel like this kind of sums it up pretty well. And it's that it's not about which university you go to. It's just about what you do with the time that you have there. I just felt like that was worth bringing up because I used to be consumed by the fact that I didn't go to the schools that I wanted to go to, that I went somewhere that I didn't really want to, and I thought that it said a lot about me and who I was as a person, and I thought it made me a failure. But when you think of it like that, you're closing yourself off to the opportunities that you have in front of you, and you are not making the most of what you have, and that is an easy way to guarantee that you will not get what you want, is if you don't take the time to appreciate and to do the most with what you've got. So if you're worried about not going to a certain school or getting into a certain program or going where your friends go or going out of state or things like that, don't worry. It's all going to work out the way it's supposed to. And you have to remember that in 4 years, you and all your friends that went to other schools and did different things and got core degrees or joined core frats or whatever it was, they're all going to be in the same position as you, which is graduated, fresh out of college, and more likely than not having a fucking clue what to do with their lives. So spend the time you get doing things you want to do and pursuing things you're passionate about while you can, while it's low stakes and low risk. And I think that is a great way to take some steps towards being successful after college, because that's really what matters. shows that there is a huge emphasis on party culture. And this is how it went at the school that I went to. It was basically exactly like this. Sunday through Wednesday, you were doing homework, studying for exams, going off to your part-time job, getting your shit done, being productive, keeping your grades and your GPA in check so that you could keep your scholarships, and doing the school part of college. And then every week, from Thursday through Saturday, you were a degenerate. You were an alcoholic, a drug addict, a fake ID using, bar hopping, party going, Uber taking, bird scooter riding, freak of the night. That's how it was. The weeks were split in two. Sunday through Wednesday, school. Thursday through Saturday, party. And it was just very black and white. There wasn't really anything that anybody cared to do outside of those two things. It was study or get drunk. And I was never very into going out and partying. I did it a few times. I did it more so my senior year because I had COVID for my sophomore and junior years. My brother's whispering. My brother's whistling, and I need to tell him to shut the hell up. Okay. Black and white. You're either studying or you're partying. I wasn't big into partying, so I felt like, okay, well, I'm here for school, but I'm able to get my schoolwork done in a reasonable amount of time. Now, what the fuck do I do? And that was something I struggled with because everybody around me was going out and getting absolutely fucked up every weekend. And so I was just like, well, I feel like I'm not even making the most of the college experience. Like, what the fuck am I actually doing here? I'm not even doing half of what I'm here to do, or what I think I'm supposed to be doing. So what am I doing? And it just brings up this concept of gray space. You know, the areas between black and white, the gray area, as they call it. Of course, that was so dumb. The gray area. College is not as binary as that, in my opinion. If that's what you go to do, which is just to get your degree and party, good for you. Like, I don't care. I'm not here to judge anybody. If that's what you want to do with your experience, by all means. I really hope you can't hear my brother whistling. I don't think he saw my text. People often say that college is a time to find yourself, and I think those gray areas are where you find yourself. So yes, study and do what you need to do at school and go out and have fun with your friends. But I would really, really very strongly suggest that you also take time to explore yourself in other capacities, like doing hobbies you enjoy, or trying to get internships at places that you might want to work, or doing things that you might want to do. Or taking time to do nothing and just think about the world and your life and what you want to do with it. I just feel like splitting your life into two hemispheres of studying and partying doesn't really encapsulate all that you can make college out to be, because the night, sitting at a table shooting the shit with each other. I just feel like college can be so much more than those two things, and that you should put your eggs in other baskets, because when you're done with college, there won't be any more studying. I remember the moment I turned in my last final exam senior year, and I walked out of the building, and my first thought was like, okay, what do I need to do now? Thinking of something for school that I had to do. And I realized, like, wow, I'm never going to do homework again. I'm never going to study for an exam again. I'm never going to go on Quizlet again, most likely. So now what? I would just suggest finding a couple of other baskets to invest yourself into just a little bit, just even the tiniest bit. Because one day those two things will come to an end, and you will be wondering what you have to show for yourself and your college experience apart from a degree and a potential drinking problem, and you want to have other things to use in your future going forward. So think about those other things and those gray areas and try and make something out of them. I think that made sense. I hope it did. Okay, the fifth and final thing that I heard a lot of people say going into college and during college and after college, again, just all three of them, is that a good job is the best possible outcome after graduating. If I had $1 for every one of my friends or family members who got a job they either liked, wanted, or that paid well after graduating, I honest to God might have like $1. I can think of one person who actually had that happen. Almost everybody I knew either got a part-time job, took a gap year, and went and traveled or did something, went back home to live with their parents again, or just stayed living with their friends and didn't get a job and was just trying to figure it out, or got a job that they fucking hated. Because life is just not that simple. A degree does not mean you get a good job and that you succeed right off the bat. I wish it did, but it doesn't. It's just a weird thing because after you graduate college, you're coming into the world with the ability to do anything you want or can think of. But you have no fucking idea where to start. And so the probability of you starting at the exact place that you're supposed to be is about as rare as meeting. No, I fucked that up. That was about to be a bar. The probability of you graduating from college and getting the exact job or profession that you want to have for the rest of your life is probably as likely as you marrying the first person you ever date. And I'm sure that 99.99% of you are not in that situation. So, it goes to speak to how rare it is. And the thing I want to reiterate more than anything else is that that is okay. It is fine to graduate college and not get right to where you want to be. In fact, that's normal, and in fact, it's probably a good thing. Because now you have the opportunity to go and figure out what it actually is that you want to do. And yes, of course, it sucks because you have to figure it out through trial and error, and you have to go through periods of uncertainty and frustration a job in a field completely unrelated to your degree. You could go back to school for a master's. You could travel the world. You could get hit by a car and fucking die the day after you graduate. You could smoke weed with your friends for the whole summer. You could go clubbing in Spain for 3 weeks and spend your days on the beach and your nights doing ecstasy at a nightclub in Barcelona. You could get addicted to vaping. You could write a book. You can literally do anything, is my point. And yes, I know I've heard so many people say that growing up. Like, oh my god, you could do anything, you could be anything. And I would always think like, okay, that doesn't fucking help me at all. What the hell am I supposed to actually do? So I'm not sitting here and trying to be that guy saying, oh, you can do anything, so just feel better about it. I'm just saying that because you can do anything, don't expect the first thing you do to be the right thing, or even the second or the third. It takes time, so don't use the first few months after you graduate college as a representation of what the rest of your life is going to be like. Because in the same way that 4 years of your life in college doesn't dictate the rest of your life and isn't the best part of your life, the first few months after you graduate are not indicative of what your life is going to be like for the next 50, hopefully 50, 60 years you get to live. Good things take time, is my point. And of course, again, these are just, I don't even think I said this, but I hope you can take away that these are just my thoughts and opinions. And I'm only 24. I've only been graduated for 2.5 years. So truthfully, I have no fucking idea what I'm talking about. But those are just some of my thoughts and feelings about college. Because I know it can be a pretty stressful topic or exciting topic for a lot of people. And I just wanted to share what I thought about things. And I hope I didn't come off in a way that implied that like college sucks and that you shouldn't go and that it's not worth it. Because again, I have a lot of great memories and I made a couple great friends. And I took a lot of important lessons away from my time as a student in university. I'm just saying that life doesn't end when you graduate. It doesn't decline after you graduate. Of course, there are going to be low moments, and it might not always be as exciting as the experiences you had in college. But it's going to get exciting again. There are going to be plenty of great moments and opportunities and people and feelings and situations in the same ways that you experienced them when you were in college. They might not happen as quickly in succession of one another as they did when you were on campus, but they are still going to arise and you are going to be completely fine.
Am I still recording?
Yes.
I'm going to tell you about my 4-iron.
Shut up. Sorry. He's trying to talk while I'm trying to finish. I'm trying to outro. And also I wanted to say one more thing. I wasn't trying to talk shit about my friend who got a master's or like an MBA and can't find a job, because that's so many people, and I know he's going to end up being successful because he's an incredible guy and he's extremely intelligent in all aspects of life. I was just trying to make the point that it's not as simple as getting a good degree and then finding a kick-ass job. That's just the way life happens sometimes, and it's just going to take him a little bit more time than he might have thought, or than people might have told him. Anyways, I don't think I can possibly whisper anymore, and my brother wants to tell me about how his golf round went today, so I'm gonna go talk to him. I hope I didn't seem like a jackass when I told him to shut up, but I'm just trying to finish this. I'm just trying to get this done. myself I'm gonna post it regardless, so you will be seeing it. So, that all being said, I hope you have a great rest of your day or night,